engines screaming, tires smoking, and a blur of metal tearing down the track. This is not your average race day. One car roars past, and officials freeze in disbelief. Too fast, too wild, too dangerous. They had no choice but to outlaw it. But this wasn't a one-off. This was the 1960s, an era when American engineers pushed speed to its absolute limit, building machines that seemed almost alive, almost unstoppable. Fans cheered, rivals panicked, and legends were born and banned. Today, we're diving into 5 of the most outrageous classic American race cars from the 60s, each one so extreme that racing officials had to hit the brakes on history itself. You're about to see speed taken to its absolute edge. 1. Chaparral 2J, the sucker car. The moment the Chaparral 2J hit the track, it looked like something out of a sci-fi movie. Big, low, and menacing, it hummed with a sound unlike anything racers had ever heard, like a vacuum cleaner on steroids. That hum? It wasn't just noise. The 2J used a clever fan system to literally suck itself to the ground, giving it grip no other car could touch. Around tight corners, it stuck like glue while rivals spun out, fighting for control. Onlookers and competitors couldn't believe it. Some whispered, "That's not racing, that's cheating." But the truth was pure engineering genius. With every lap, it tore through the competition, leaving dust, smoke, and jaws on the asphalt. Drivers reported feeling the car almost pulling them along. Too fast for the human reflexes of the era. Officials had a problem. The 2J was too dominant. No amount of skill could match its downforce tricks. Races became predictable and safety concerns skyrocketed. The car wasn't just winning, it was rewriting the rules. Eventually, Can-Am racing authorities threw up their hands and banned it. The reason? It was simply too fast, too dangerous, too ahead of its time. Even today, collectors and engineers still marvel at the 2J. Watching archival footage, you can almost feel the tension of drivers gripping their wheels, trying to keep up, knowing one slip could be catastrophic. This was more than a car, it was a warning to the racing world. Push the limits too far, and the rules will stop you, whether you like it or not. 2. Dodge Charger Daytona. The moment the Dodge Charger Daytona roared onto a NASCAR track, jaws dropped. Its massive, towering rear wing looked like something a rocket engineer would design, and the pointed nose cut through the air like a blade. But this wasn't just for show. The Daytona was built to dominate, and dominate it did. Drivers hit speeds over 200 miles per hour on tracks, where anything above 150 felt insane. Rivals gawked as the Daytona sliced past them, the wind whipping and tires screaming. Crew chiefs scratched their heads. Fans cheered, and the sound of that V8, loud, deep, ferocious, echoed like a war drum across the stands. One driver later admitted, it wasn't just fast, it was terrifying. You could feel it breathing down your neck, daring you to keep up. The problem? NASCAR wasn't ready. The Daytona's aerodynamic tricks made it almost unbeatable, and safety concerns mounted. High-speed crashes became a real threat as ordinary cars struggled to handle the slipstream chaos it created. Officials faced a choice: let it tear through races unchecked or change the rules. NASCAR acted fast, restricting engines and tweaking regulations to curb these winged monsters. Suddenly, the Daytona was no longer the untouchable king of speed. Even today, seeing one in motion is awe-inspiring. That giant wing, the nose cone, the sheer presence, it screams ambition and audacity. The Dodge Charger Daytona wasn't just a car, it was a statement. In the 1960s, American engineers weren't just racing for trophies, they were rewriting what speed itself could mean. 3. Plymouth Superbird. The Plymouth Superbird looked like a car built for another planet. That towering rear wing, stretched nose cone, and sleek, exaggerated body weren't just for show, they were precision-engineered weapons for the NASCAR tracks. When it hit the straightaways, the Superbird didn't just move fast, it flew. Engines thundered, tires screamed, and the air itself seemed to bend around it. Competitors quickly learned the terrifying truth. Keeping up with a Superbird was nearly impossible. Drafting behind it was risky. The car's sheer speed created turbulence that could toss rivals like ragdolls. Drivers whispered in garages and pits. One wrong move and you're done. This thing isn't just fast, it's lethal. Fans loved it, cheering as the car blurred past. But officials saw a problem brewing. The Superbird's aerodynamic advantage made it unstoppable, forcing NASCAR to intervene. Its engine package, originally unrestricted, pushed beyond what tracks and tires could safely handle. Crashes weren't common, but when they happened, they were catastrophic. The powers that be had no choice. Regulations were tightened, and the Superbird's dominance was officially curtailed. Yet its legend was cemented, immortalized not just in speed, but in fear and awe. Even now, seeing a Superbird on the road sparks the same excitement and tension it did in the 1960s. That wing, that nose, that engine growl. It's a reminder of a time when American engineers weren't just racing for wins. They were challenging limits, daring the world to keep up. The Plymouth Superbird wasn't merely a car. It was a flying manifesto of ambition, danger, and raw, unapologetic speed. 4. McLaren M6A Can-Am. The McLaren M6 exploded onto the Can-Am circuits like a storm. Low, wide, and aggressive, it screamed raw power before it even moved. The moment its V8 roared to life, spectators felt it in their chests, the kind of sound that rattles teeth and raises goosebumps. On the track, the M6A wasn't just fast, it was relentless. Tires smoked, asphalt blurred beneath its wheels, and corners that humbled every other car were nothing to this machine. Rivals stared in disbelief as McLaren's engineering genius became painfully obvious. Adjustable wings, lightweight construction, and insane horsepower meant the M6A could accelerate, brake, and corner with terrifying precision. Drivers admitted the car almost felt alive, like it had its own will, pushing the limits of both man and machine. One engineer recalled, it was a weapon. If you weren't ready for it, it would bury you. But dominance came with danger. The M6 as power-stressed tires, brakes, and tracks. Near misses were common, and safety became a nightmare. Officials realized this was more than a car. It was a risk too high to ignore. Racing regulations were forced to change, and the McLaren M6A was officially constrained, its full fury outlawed. Even today, watching footage of the M6A tearing through a Can-Am track is jaw-dropping. Every wheel spin, every screeching corner, every straightaway blast reminds us why this car was feared and revered. The McLaren M6A wasn't just a champion. It was proof that when American and British ingenuity collided, the result could be both beautiful and terrifying. Speed, danger, and audacity rolled into one unforgettable machine. 5. Lotus 56 Turbine. The Lotus 56 Turbine looked like it had been ripped from a science fiction movie. Sleek, wedge-shaped, and almost alien in design. It wasn't just a car, it was a jet on wheels. The turbine engine whined and roared like nothing else on the track, a sound that made drivers flinch and fans cheer with equal awe. One push of the throttle, and the car shot forward with a power that felt uncontrollable. Racing it was a gamble, unlike conventional engines. The turbine delivered power in a smooth, terrifying surge that left drivers struggling to predict its behavior. One misjudged turn could send the car spinning, and the shock of its acceleration made every competitor rethink their limits. Crew chiefs and officials watched in stunned silence, knowing the rules weren't equipped for something like this. The result? Outlawed. Racing authorities quickly realized that the Lotus 56 Turbine's raw, jet-like speed was too dangerous for the Indy tracks. It wasn't just fast, it challenged the very idea of what a race car could be. Pilots were awed, rival drivers terrified, and history took note. Some machines are too extreme, too ahead of their time, to race safely. Even decades later, the Lotus 56 Turbine remains a symbol of audacity. Watching archival footage, you can almost feel the engine's roar vibrating through the stands, smell the burning rubber, and sense the tension in every driver's grip. This wasn't merely a car, it was a warning, a marvel, and a legend all at once. The Lotus 56 Turbine proved that when engineers refuse limits, the results can be breathtaking and dangerous. These 5 machines didn't just race, they terrified, awed, and rewrote the rules of speed. From the Chaparral 2JS gravity-defying grip to the Lotus 56 Turbine's jet-like fury, each car pushed limits that humans weren't ready for. Tracks burned rubber, fans held their breath, and officials had no choice but to step in. Yet being banned didn't erase their legacy. It made them legends. Every roar, every blur past the finish line, every engineering marvel reminds us of a time when daring and danger rode side by side. These cars weren't just vehicles. They were dreams on fire, audacity in metal, and a testament to the American spirit of speed. If you want more stories that shock, thrill, and honor these legendary machines, make sure you subscribe.